Welcome to CarePod, a safe place to educate, inspire, and renew the caregiver. Listen in with our host, Dr. Kipley Bell, as she interviews different experts along the caregiving journey.
So I have a great topic for you all today. Sitting here with Dr. Jesseca Tighe of Solutions, okay? Solutions for health. For those of us caring for others in caring roles, for caregivers, for thought leaders in caring roles who need to examine and take our own pulse check of our mental health. Dr. Jesseca Tighe has her doctorate in psychology, and I'm just so happy to have her join us to talk things all soul and mental health. So give us some solutions today, and I thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So this is so timely, really, because honestly, with my years of work at bedside with families, even in my current even concierge folks right now, it's this quagmire of the older adult person saying, hey, like, I'm over it, I'm frustrated, I now have somebody trying to help me to go to the toilet, I've lost my independence. And then I have the families kind of disconnected from the toll that it takes on that person's mental health and trying to bridge the gap to care, if you will. So can you jump right in and kind of speak to that?
Yeah, and that it's great work because you've got the senior who's experiencing loss, and then also the family or the primary caregivers who are experiencing the loss of that person's independence as well, and they're losing the person that they knew. So they are going through their own grief process, and I think those of us who are stepping into that gap can really start there to bridge that and acknowledge that it is a loss and that they are basically beginning the grief process of losing this person on both sides.
Absolutely. And you know what, also, too, I found that the loss is there's a very small window of this kind of pseudo dementia that occurs as a result of grief, loss of sense of self, of purpose, etc.
Mhm. Yeah.
So tell us about your why, how you got into this space, who has been your compass, your older adult person in your own life that guides you in this space, etc.
Yeah. So it was not a linear path. So I was working as a mental health therapist for many years, actually with mostly with children and adolescents. So the
How
other
about it?
side, other side
Yeah.
of the spectrum, other side of brain development. And then I actually got really burnt out. It's a hard life
Yeah.
doing that work. And a friend of mine was in the senior living industry and said, well, hey, you're burnt out. I think you would love this job. My assistant director just quit. You've run programs before. It's still healthcare. Come work for me for a year. And if you want to go back, that's fine. And I went to work for her and just fell in love.
Wow.
So it wasn't really I didn't have a traditional start in the industry. I didn't have a senior that I was caring for in childhood or anything like that, but I just fell in love with the families, with the seniors, and stayed for 13 years. So, uh,
Wow. That's
yeah,
amazing. That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
And you know what, too? The overlap, I've had some guests recently speak to the mental health of the child caregiver. So the woman
yes,
that is, the child that's caregiving for their grandparent, or, their
yeah,
grandparent is in a surrogate parental role and now
right.
they're aging, and that child is caring for them, and that mental health space. So what does that look like? Have
Yeah.
you had families with, in
Mhm.
multi-generational living concept where you've kind of addressed both sides?
Yeah, absolutely. And it really is as we are getting into the sandwich generation, people that are adult children that are caring for their parents and then also children. I think that that's increasing. So it's only natural for those children in those families to take on those caregiver roles as well, just like they would do for their siblings. They're doing it for their grandparents, and it's really wonderful to see. But what my work is specifically working with everybody who is in that caregiver role, and also healthcare workers themselves as well, so that they can manage their stress, so that they can, find time for themselves, find time for their self-care, so that they can continue to do that important work.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell us about, I love your business title. Tell us about
Uh,
your business, how one connects with you, the specific work that you do on a day to day.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Yeah. Well, um, I came up with it, and the domain was available. So I'm like, buy, buy, buy. But I wanted, when I started out, I wanted to work specifically with healthcare workers like myself,
Yeah.
are burnt out, stressed out, doing this important work, pouring all of their energy into their work, and not have anything left at the end of the day for their own family. So that's
Mhm.
what I
Mhm.
really wanted to do, was step into that gap. So I work with healthcare workers, I work with a lot of senior living folks, nurses. I work with other folks too, but my favorite folks to work with are healthcare workers. And then I also have, the other half of my business is working with caregivers who are caring for seniors at home, or spouses at home with dementia.
Mm.
Doing the same, it's the same program, same kind of coaching, to make sure that they're taking care of themselves, because I know what I saw, and I'm sure you saw too, so often caregivers were foregoing their own needs and their own health, and sacrificing their own health in order to take care of other people. And then, we're losing them in terms of their own mental health, in terms of their own self-care. Many times people would come in to our community because the caregiver was the one who passed away first, because they weren't taking
Mm.
care of themselves. So
Mm.
it's just so important that we don't sacrifice our own personal needs, because if we don't take care of ourselves, there's no one to take care of these folks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Attention, healthcare professionals. Are you looking to enhance your skills and stay ahead in your field? Look no further than our ACCME accredited CME courses. Whether you're a doctor, physician assistant, or nurse practitioner, our courses are tailored to meet your needs. Why focus on geriatric education, you ask? Because regardless of your specialty, geriatric care is becoming increasingly essential. As our population ages, the demand for competent healthcare professionals in geriatrics is higher than ever before. We don't stop there. Our courses also empower caregivers to partner with you in the care of your patients. We believe that by fostering a strong partnership between healthcare clinicians and caregivers, we can provide the best possible care for our elderly population. So join our impactful caregiving community today. Sign up for our ACCME accredited course instruction and take the first step towards advancing your career and making a difference in the lives of your patients. Absolutely. So how do you kind of get, we're the worst patients, right? How do you get the healthcare clinician to
Yeah.
decompress and identify that it's time, that they are burning out, that what those triggers are, the coping mechanisms? What are your steps to care for
Yeah.
those people?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think that there's been a lot of education around burnout, and I do provide those resources too. A lot of people come to me through that. But what I try to do is really work on really quick small micro skills that people can really fold into their daily lives, but that will make a really huge impact in their mental health and in their self-care. I was working with a trauma nurse, a couple months ago, and she's like, I can't even pee during my 12-hour shift. Like, what are you talking about? But we were able to get some of those like micro skills that she can really do on the fly, on shift and at home, to just decrease that stress level so that she's not on high alert. And that's really what we want to do, is bring that nervous system down so that your cortisol isn't blowing out, your adrenals aren't blowing out, so that you really can rest and relax. And when you are at home, when you are off work, or when you're not, caring for someone, you have a little bit of time to really rest and recharge, because some of the things that we're doing is not restful. Playing a game while watching Netflix is
So
not
true.
letting your system actually rest and recharge.
So
So
true. And I am so
yeah.
guilty of that. I'm so guilty of that.
Hey, look,
So
me
true.
too. Me too. I live in this
So
world. I'm
true.
not perfect, but but I walk the walk. I have my own practices that I do, and because I actually let my brain and my nervous system really rest and recharge, I don't feel so bad playing Wordle and watching Bridgerton. It's okay. Every once in a while, it's all right.
I love that. So give us your five top, micro skills. Like what, is
Yeah.
it like dip into the side hallway and breathe for five, or what are your top five?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the first thing that I do with every single client is a dopamine detox. And there's wonderful, short, quick YouTube videos, but basically it's letting your brain be bored for a significant period of time. I start my clients off with 24 hours where there's no phone, or as little as possible. You got to talk to your children, right? No phone, no internet, no TV, no online shopping, no rich foods, like reading a book you've already read. Like, let your brain be bored. Do a crossword. Let your brain be
Wow.
bored. So I start them off with that, and then the practice is to try to have 30 minutes to 2 hours a day of just letting yourself be bored. And that really decreases that nervous system, and it decreases that dopamine response that we're getting from all of those super stimuli.
Got
And
it.
then actually letting your brain rest so that you know what rest actually feels like. Because so many of us are doing, we're engaging with these super stimuli just too much, and we're not actually resting our brain. And that's why we're waking up and saying, like, I don't feel rested today. And it's like, well, yeah, no kidding, because you're not resting. So really resting and recharge. So I start off with dopamine detox. We also start off with breathing exercises, and then looking at what self-care looks like for the individual person, because real self-care is different for all of us. And I'm not just talking about, bubble baths and, long walks on the beach. It's, what can you do minimally to decrease that stress response. And research has shown you really only need 3 to 5 minutes 3 to 5 times a day. That's the minimum effective dose
Interesting.
for, yeah, that we all can do that,
Yeah,
right?
it's doable. It's
It's
doable.
totally doable. Even these folks who are caring for, seniors with dementia, and have absolutely no time in their day, you have 3 to 5 minutes, 3 to 5 times a day. And that's really the minimum that you need. So we
I love
start
it.
off with those skills. It's very individualized, very personalized. And that's what I do first to get people some relief, so that then they can actually make decisions and incorporate new skills, look at habits, look at their day, and really try to claw back something for themselves.
Got it. Got it. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So, what does this look like on a corporate level? Now
Yes.
you're coming in and you are, handling, a 500, member auditorium of, stressed out, healthcare professionals.
Yes.
What does that look like on a broad scale?
Yeah, my people. So I have so there's a couple of different things that I do for businesses. I do educational workshops that can be, an hour to 2 hours. We actually go through a workbook. We, have discussions, things like that. And then I also have a program specifically for business that can support the primary leader, their team, their leadership team, do staff trainings with their staff, and really create a cohesive team around them. So where self-care and wellness is primary, because once you have that, then you can really put yourself in a good place to do the work that you need to do to take care of these folks. And so that's a year-long program, that I
Wow.
provide of coaching
Amazing.
for those businesses. Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. So
Yeah.
how does Dr. Ty decompress? How do
How do
you
I
decompress
decompress?
from the teaching of self-care?
Yes, yes. I try to really have quiet time where I'm just alone with my own thoughts, and whether that's journaling, whether that's just going for a walk, but just not having stimulation, not having a podcast in one ear because I have an 8-year-old. See, I'm a real person. But I really do try to have, at least I do that dopamine detox, intermittently, try to do that daily for a minimum of 20 minutes. Journaling's a really important practice for me. I also teach it to my clients. I have a whole journaling system, that's
Nice.
super easy. Even if you've never journaled before, I show you how to do it quickly and easily, just to stop those ruminating thoughts, because that's so important. Because when we're stressed out, when we're burnt out, that phenomenon of those ruminating thoughts, and we're just on the carousel and we can't get off and we don't know what to do next, but we're thinking about this and we're worrying about something for next week and we're worrying about all this stuff. It really helps to get those thoughts down on paper and call them out on the mat and say, you know what, this is not productive right now.
Right.
Because we're actually, human beings are not good at processing in our heads. It really doesn't do us a whole lot of good. It really helps to get it down on paper and operationalize it in a way that we can actually deal with it. So
Yes.
that's very important. So those are probably the two main things that I do religiously. And then I also have a habit tracker. I have, my little 90-day planner. I like my 90-day planner because it breaks things up into little chunks so that it's easier to deal with. And I work on my habits for that 90-day period. Right now, I'm trying to eat more fruits and vegetables at every single meal. So that's my habit that I'm trying to do this month
Love
for
that.
myself, so that I'm continually improving, and trying to improve my sleep and trying to improve my body and trying to feel better, not in a bro hacky way,
Right.
but in but in a way that's sustainable, and also helping me so that I'm continuing my own personal growth.
Absolutely. And it makes you a more authentic, transparent leader to say, these were my pain points. These are the ways I've tried to address it in
Right.
small, achievable moments. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
tell us, how does one consult with you? What is your website? All the goodness.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. My website is Solutions for Health. So SOUL and Forest spelled out. So solutionsforhealth.com. They can book a free session. I give out free sessions for, anyone who wants to talk with me. And we actually sit down and talk for an hour and talk about your personal needs and what it would be like to work together. So that's on my website. You can book directly from there. You can also book directly from my LinkedIn page. That's a good way that people find me as well. Or you can email me or direct message me on any of the platforms and I will respond.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, any final words for our CarePod audience?
It is a brave thing to take care of yourself. and put your own needs first. It is actually bravery. It is needed. I know that people aren't necessarily used to it, but it is so needed, and it is so important to take care of yourself so that you can take care of others, and so that you have something left for yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm so honored to have had this time with you. And it's an important reminder for us all, right? To take a breath and to begin again. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
Great information right from the source. For more information on how to caregive like a boss, check out impactfulcaregiving.com. Want to be a guest on the show? Contact us at CarePod at impactfulcaregiving.com.